Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Sir Ness. My name is Leslie Rivas, and my task is to continue the discussion about second language acquisition, or the SLA, and bilingualism. Many children grow up hearing and using more than one language. Parents, educators, and legislators alike take an interest in research findings on child bilingualism and language acquisition. When it comes to a person speaking more than one language in their life, there are different ways that learning the second language is affected. So, the history in bilingualism and the effectiveness of how well the individual speaks starts when they began to learn that particular language. A person can acquire language or two or more languages either in their early age or in their older age. If the person learns more than one language during early age, the chances of them being capable of doing this without confusion is highly probable. An example of this would be a child being born into a family where both parents have different native languages and would like their child to be fluent in both. Example, your mother is American and your father is Korean, and they are fluent in their native languages. So, before we continue, I have this short trivia. Korean speakers, if you will notice, they have difficulty in pronouncing the sound of and the sound of L or L because their alphabet is different from our alphabet. They don't have letter R and letter L. We have this term, OPOL or OPOL means one parent, one language. If you are a French mother, then you speak French to your child. If your husband is Russian, then he speaks Russian. Each parent speaks his or her native language to the child. So at an early age, the child can acquire two languages and he can speak it, he can understand it without confusion. Why? Because the child is already exposed to that language, to the language of his mother and the language of his father. On the other hand, many people learn their second language on their older age. When they are already fluent in another language and then start to learn the second, this is now referred to as second language acquisition, or the SLA. For example, English is my first language, but I want to learn French. That you can now acquire your second language, that is SLA. But take note of this, the success of mastering a second language is highly affected by the age at which the individual begins exposure to the new language. So after acquiring second language, and when the person can speak two languages, they can become bilingual. Bilingualism is the ability to use two languages. They may become bilingual by learning a second language after their first language. According to Pam Bremer, bilingualism does not only make children better linguists, it also sharpens their brains in other ways too. Well-developed bilingualism actually enhances one's cognitive flexibility. That is, bilingual people, including children, are better able to see things from two or more perspectives and to understand how other people want to say. Bilinguals do not just use sometimes L1 or L2. Quite often, they use both at the same time. There are rapid switches between languages. Bilinguals have to decide which language to use and when to switch to another one. That is what we call code switching. It means shifting from one language to another, either consciously or subconsciously. I have this example, French and English. Example, the church remarked and bribed him. A wreck on chocolate chud with cream on top. Second example, Spanish and English. Hola, good morning, queridos maestros and maestras. How are you? Second, por favor, amiga, but listen to this ejemplo. And then, the last example, Tagalog and English. Sige, bukas, I'm gonna fix my things na and get ready sa bakasyon namin sa Baguio. So, we're using that code switching sometimes. That is, using the base language with brief shifts to the switch language. Though mostly man naton ini siya nababatian, especially kung wala na kita sang ma-think bala or consciously we use that, and sometimes it's subconsciously we utter English and then Filipino, something like that. Now, I have here a research study. The title is The Age Factor in Second Language Learning by Ro Yun-Hu from Chongqing Normal University, Chongqing, China. In recent years, age has been considered as the major factor in determining language learners' successful foreign language acquisition, which is correlated to the assumption stated by critical period hypothesis. This might be concluded that the language learner can acquire foreign language better than adults do at their early age. Additionally, there is still a widespread study held by many scholars stating that young children are better at second language acquisition than the latter starters, such as the adolescents or adults, according to Ro Yun-Hu, 2016. And they concluded that some adolescents or adults who start to learn second language would fail to achieve language fluency, while children who were exposed to second language seem to be proficient. What is this critical period hypothesis? The critical period hypothesis is the notion that language is the best learned during the early years of the childhood, and that after that, everyone faces certain constraints in the ability to pick up new language. Now, for the implication, is there an impact to the performance of bilingual children when they are exposed to L1 and L2? The answer is yes, because bilingual students have a cognitive impact for literacy, that is according to Jinlan Tang 2002. Linguists believe that because they're exposed to multiple languages at their young age, they're better equipped to pick up on word structure. For the conclusion, learning multiple languages affect our human brain. Thus, it affects our performances. And that ends my report. Thank you so much for listening.